Boy, somebody must have sucked my dick or something, because y'all got lucky. Y'all got 2 videos today. And nobody did suck my dick, so somebody owes me some shit. I'm JB Gunner, and this is Crime Time. Guys, what we're going to be talking about today is we got to correct some people. There's a difference between a federal grand jury indictment and a Latah County grand jury indictment. It's in black and white. Stop that. I'm going to get back to you. It's in black and white. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about tunnels underneath the Moscow, Idaho, King Road house. Oh, you mean the ones that don't exist? Yeah, the ones that don't exist under the house. I'm JB Gunner. This is Crime Time. Let's get on into it. Let's do it. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Bring it back.
What's going on, everybody? As you guys know, I'm JB Gunner, and this is Crime Time. Now, before we get started, let me first and foremost say thank you to everybody that supports the channel, regardless of the method or which channel you support, regardless of the method you use, whether it's Cash App, Patreon, Venmo, PayPal. Truth is, guys, I couldn't do this each and every day as often as I do if it wasn't for you, the Gun Squad. Appreciate you guys so much. We are 100% crowdfunded here. That's just the way it works. And if you too find my content valuable, feel free to join the Gun Squad. Hit the links down below. Also, you can find my other channels, my live show channel, my politics channel, which, I admit some of you guys probably shouldn't go there. Gaming channel, amusement park, shit like that. But without further ado, let's get on into this, because somebody made a response video to my video earlier, so now I got to respond to the response video, blah, 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 blah. Let's get to the story. Fuck it. Let's go. Guys, earlier I made a video on Idaho 4. And, I was talking about grand juries. And look, man, me and Harsh Reality, we've kind of patched things up a little bit, at least on a respectable level, to where we're colleagues and shit. He watches my videos, I watch him. But one of my issues with him, though, and this is not a big issue. It's not a big issue, but it's hard for people that's from the UK to understand American law, right? Well, anyway, earlier I talked about the grand jury in Idaho and the requirements and how I think Bryan Kohberger was railroaded. Well, not just Harsh, because Harsh genuinely was asking a question, but the issue is the commenters. Commenters are dumb, especially in the true crime community. The commenters are dumb. Why do you think I spend 104 AA? Commenters in the true crime community are actually dumb. It's a bunch of fat women sitting on the couch between the hours that they're picking up their kids from soccer. They're sitting there on the couch watching too much court TV, watching too much YouTube, and they think they know law. And you see it a lot. Federally, you can indict a ham sandwich. That is true. But people don't understand the difference between state and a federal indictment. Those are two different things. When people hear the word indicted by a grand jury, they automatically jump to thinking it's a federal grand jury. Do you see what I'm saying? But here's the reality and here's the truth. Bryan Kohberger was indicted by the Idaho Latah County grand jury, and I'm gonna show all that. But there's a lot of goofy shit I want to get out of here. I want to kind of just get out of the way, and we're gonna get into all of that, guys. Before we're just gonna jump right into it. We're just gonna say fuck it and jump right into it. Period. There won't be any election after World War III officially, but yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. No doubt about it. Now, earlier, I made that video, and Harsh commented and let me know that he would be making his own video, which was essentially a response to my video. And he's asking the right questions. He's doing the right things. He says this seems wrong. That was his newest video. Feel free to watch it whenever I'm not streaming. But in this video, he played a video that grand jurors are shown in a federal indictment. And he's a little confused. He does not understand. In a federal indictment and in some states, the indictment just needs to be probable cause. It may be like that in Florida. You can ask Melissa S. down there. But let me make something very, very clear to you. And this is the one thing I wanted Harsh to understand. The thing that I want to make clear is that all indictments are not the same. Now, all grand jury indictments are not the same. There's a federal grand jury indictment and then a state or local grand jury indictment. Now, let's get to some of these indictments. If we take a look here and we look at the grand jury indictment for Bryan Kohberger, this is the grand jury indictment for Bryan Kohberger. What does this say? Is accused by the grand jury of Latah County by this indictment. This is 100% a local grand jury indictment. So, that means the rules for the grand jury are not what the federal government says for federal grand jury indictments. What the rules for the grand jury indictment for Latah County is what Latah County in the state of Idaho determines the rules to be. The grand jury federally listens to the prosecutor or witnesses and then votes in secret on whether they believe that enough evidence exists to charge the person with the crime. That's the federal. Listen carefully. That is the federal grand jury indictment. Right there. All you got to do is have probable cause to charge him for the crime. Now, let's continue. When we look at Title 19 of the Idaho legislature, which this is what matters, not federal grand jury legislature. Let's look at Title 19, Chapter 11, Powers and Duties of the Grand Jury. And I posted this earlier, but I want to make this clear to Harsh and everybody on the True Crime channel, which I'll be posting this on, that needs clarification. In a Latah County grand jury indictment, it is clear as day. It is clear as day. Sufficiency of evidence to warrant indictment. This is grand jury, this is Title 19, Chapter 1107. 19-1107. Criminal procedure. Powers and duties of grand jury. It says the grand jury ought to find indictment. Let's go ahead and pull this out. When all the evidence before them, taken together, if it unexplained or uncontradicted, would in their judgment warrant a conviction by trial by jury. So I want you to understand that even though federal government says, federal indictments and some state indictments say you got to just have probable cause, the Idaho state legislation when it comes to grand jury says you must have enough evidence to convict him at a trial jury. It's a higher standard. This is a higher standard. And what is the standard to convict someone at a jury trial? It is beyond a reasonable doubt. Melissa in the chat room's got it right. Let me change that tip jar to 100. Sorry about that. Let me change it over here. So there is no questioning this. Bryan Kohberger will win this case on appeal, man. He will appeal this no matter what, and this will be thrown out. Right here, his grand jury indictment is fraudulent. Period. Right here, right now. They were given the wrong instructions. That is the reality of that case. And people like Melissa who believe Bryan Kohberger is guilty, people like Melissa S. in the chat room, this can't be good news for her. Because she knows law, and she knows that what I'm saying is 100% accurate. The difference in the standards of indictment differ, and what matters is the Latah County standards. That is what matters. And when you have 6 jurors saying we want to see more information and being denied that information, that means that this federal indictment is fraudulent. Period. It should have been thrown out. And we should have went to a preliminary hearing. I'm not saying at all that I think Brian Kohlberg should just walk home and go home. Try him the right way. And like I said earlier, try him the right way. And I showed this statute earlier, but I had to go find the difference between the state and federal. So as most people know, they held up the indictment. The Idaho 2nd District Judge, John Judge, rejected that argument, though, saying that the use of the lower standard was a matter of settled law. No, it's not, because we just read the settled law. John Judge agreed, noting that grand juries have used the probable cause standard to indict people for 100 years in Idaho. He said Kohlberger's defense attorneys would need to bring the issue to the Idaho Supreme Court if they want to pursue it further, which they will. This is why Ann Taylor is a goddamn genius. They are fucking geniuses. Because here's the truth. It doesn't matter if Idaho's been jacking off and doing things the wrong way or not. If the fucking statute says that is the standard, just because you've been fucking off for 100 years doesn't mean the statute still isn't legit. That is jury tampering. Absolutely. What's up, Louis? That is the bottom line. That is 100% the bottom line. Logsdon, which was the lawyer, said the Idaho legislature set the higher standard for grand jury indictments. But the Idaho Supreme Court effectively lowered the standard and never tested the constitutionality of its own rule. They lost this, but the point of this is that the documents themselves clearly show that Latah County standards for grand jury indictments are what I read them to you. That they are, you must find them, it must be enough to find them guilty at trial, which means beyond a reasonable doubt. So for harsh in the UK, that's your actual case law that I just showed you. That is the actual facts of that. And I understand there are people that want Kohlberger guilty, and I get that. And maybe he is. I want a fair trial. That's what I want. And here's the thing. What's the good in convicting Kohlberger if Kohlberger can just appeal it to a Supreme Court and walk right out the motherfucker? And that's the problem with Moscow, Idaho, and this entire bullshit. They haven't done any of the shit by the books. None of it. The defense is still waiting after filing the 9th motion to just get discovery. If he is not guilty, he could sue the state. People have been wrongfully on death row and at 100%. 100%. Kathy says, go back, look at the Lucas Anderson case for all hung up DNA. His DNA was on the nail clippings of a murder victim. Spoiler alert, he wasn't guilty, never even met the victim. Of course, when you're talking about touch DNA, that can get there in a million different ways. Don't get me wrong, it's very suspicious that it was on a knife sheath under a body of a stabbing victim. I'm not naive. But what I am is I'm tired of all the fuckery and the bullshit going around. And there's more. I talked about this earlier, and then I got another comment that says there are tunnels. There are tunnels under the Moscow house. No, there's not. I understand you watched The Clown, and he was telling you about tunnels that were be built in 1927, and that's fine. And then he was talking about these tunnels, and then he showed this article. What is this article? It's this article. I want you to understand that he showed this article right here just to show that kids like to be in articles. This article has nothing to do with fucking Moscow, Idaho. But he did show something that did have something to do with Moscow, Idaho. And that would be, hold on, let me show you this. Hold on. The University of Idaho, to lease steam plant utility system to investment group. Now, here's the thing. All I gotta tell you, you can look around a little bit, and I'm gonna show you guys right here. I'm not typically a Redditor, but a little bit of Googling will show you that the map in the video was actually wrong. It turns out, after about 20 minutes of Googling, that in 2020, the U of I published a huge PDF full of drawings of their infrastructure, including the utility tunnels. Here it is. It's right here. Some of the drawings are very intricate, so you might find browsing slow going. I ain't got time for that shit. The most southerly green tunnel to the south runs down the intersection of Nez Perce Drive and Blake Avenue, which is a fair distance northeast from the King Road area. The tunnels don't even go under the house. A map of the steam distribution system itself is shown on page 543 of that PDF. Again, none of the steam pipes are near the King Road area. Motherfuckers are asking if you can walk through the storm sewers, the storm, and all this. There is clearly a map showing the tunnels, and none of them go through the King Road residence. So I just want to make this shit clear. And look, I'm not knocking Dripper Dropper or whatever his name is. I'm not knocking him. But when you come into my videos and you tell me, and I'm not talking about Dripper Dropper, I'm talking about comments. You come into my videos and you tell me that I'm wrong, that there are tunnels under the King Road residence. There is no tunnels. There is no basement. There is no none of it. There is no secret special door that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crawl out of and murder 4 people. There is no tunnels under King Road. There is no basement at the King Road residence. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're fucking wrong. And all it takes is a little bit of Googling and half an IQ, and you can find that shit immediately. But that's not what the true crime community does. They love being in that world of speculation. They love it. And they love believing that Freddy Krueger came up through the sewers and ate a pizza with, DoorDash with motherfucking Xana and then murdered them all. They're weird people. Anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and clip that for them people. All I'm saying is shout out to Harsh. I ain't got no problem. I do got problems with him, but when it comes to our work, there ain't no problem. The reality of this is Harsh is in the UK, and I don't think he understood there's a difference between state and federal. And let me also hammer home a point that Harsh Reality made. Is if it wasn't about being guilty without a reasonable doubt, if that wasn't the standard, and at least some jurors didn't know it, why would 6 jurors ask for more information? Huh? Because here's the truth. Just the knife sheath alone gives you probable cause. Why would the grand jurors ask for more information? Well, maybe those 6 jurors did some research on the damn case law themselves. Maybe they knew they needed more. Maybe. But that's all when it comes to Koberger, the Idaho 4. I'm releasing them a second video tonight. They don't deserve it. Them motherfuckers don't deserve it. I'm doing it for y'all. Y'all pay me. Them people over there, boy, you know how it goes. But anyway, so tell them motherfuckers over there in the true crime world, you're welcome. You're welcome. Crime time. So I'm done with them. All right. So anyway, now that we got that shit out the way, had to school them motherfuckers just real quick. It's so weird to me how people act like, and they talk like they actually know some shit. And I'm not talking about like any YouTubers. It just makes me sick, some of the people in the audience. All it takes is a simple Google question. Is there a difference between a state or a local grand jury indictment and a federal one? That's all it takes. It's not that fucking hard. Exactly, Woo. 100% agreed. 100% agreed. 100% agreed. Anyways. So we got a little bit of news we're going to get into. Not much. There's not a whole lot there. We did such a long-ass stream earlier. We got through quite a lot. 4 hours was our stream earlier. But now we're going to do it again. We're not 4 hours. We're only going to be here about an hour or two. Do you think Kohberger left the knife? I don't think Kohberger did anything. I don't think it was planted, and I don't think he left it. I think he's touched that knife sheath before. So if a grand jury didn't get more evidence, why did they indict? Just wondering. Good question. That's the ultimate question, Louis. That's the ultimate question. But no, the answer is, Manning, I don't think Kohberger left anything. I don't think he was there. Tito's and black cherry soda rocks. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna have to try that shit. Because they can buy a small. Because they can by a small amount of probable cause. Yeah, really, that's what it is. They were instructed that probable cause is all they needed. But that's not the truth by law. It's not the truth by law. And that's the problem. Case law is black and white, man. Case law is black and white. And I showed you the black and white. And Melissa, you're involved in law. Am I right or wrong? Case law is black and white. There was a goddamn statute. The wife ain't worth much, man, eh? Yeah. I think he traded that knife for dope at some point. It could have been. Or it could have been a million different things. That DNA could have been transferred from anything to that. It was just touch DNA. Y'all get that Stewart's black cherry and orange creams, sickle soda. I ain't done it yet. You got me considering it, though. I don't think he killed anybody either, Gina. I don't think they've proven anything. I admit there's a lot of suspicious shit. Look, man, the knife sheath is suspicious. It is. But does it absolutely, beyond a reasonable doubt, does it prove that Brian Kohberger did it or was there? Does the knife sheath prove it? I don't think so. Because here's the question. Could that knife sheath have his DNA without him have been there? The answer is yes. And as long as that answer is yes, there's a reasonable doubt. Could the knife sheath have had Brian Kohberger's DNA without Brian Kohberger being at the King Road residence? And the answer is yes, it could have. And as long as that's the fucking answer, there's a reasonable doubt. Period. Whether you agree with it or not is a different story. That brings a reasonable doubt, and you only need a juror. And if I was on the jury, I will personally, with the evidence we know exists today, I would say not guilty. That is why I make my videos like I make them. Because if I was in the jury, my answer would be that's not enough. That's not enough for me to give this man the firing squad, the death penalty. You were right all along. They had no case. Maybe he really did outsmart them all. Yeah, it is possible. Could the judge be prejudiced, anti-white, for example? Anything's possible. Anything's possible. You never know it's a college town. You don't know how woke these motherfuckers are. What's up, Bianca? The whole case is reasonable doubt. Exactly. Because once again, even the car pings don't put him there. The phone pings. It's reasonable doubt. Is there any evidence at all ever that Brian Kohberger was ever at that address? No. He's going to write a book like OJ, If I Did It, Baby. And really, that's what matters. That's what matters. We're talking about the court of law, man. And we're talking about a death penalty case. Don't get me wrong, the prosecution is going to try to nail him to the wall. That's their job. Prosecution, I don't think, care about finding a real killer. How could BK's DNA be the only DNA on the knife sheath? We don't know that it was. There was 3 other male DNAs found. How do we know BK was the only DNA found on the knife sheath? We don't know that. But I'm going to be honest with you. I still find it. Can I ask you, let me ask you a question. How does that knife sheath, how was that knife sheath not covered in blood? Serious question. How was the knife sheath not covered in blood? It was under the body of someone that was brutally stabbed to death. If the scene was as bad as people make it out to be, because you got to remember, Kaylee was stabbed in that same bed. And according to her father, she had more vicious wounds than anybody. How in the fuck does that knife sheath only have touch DNA from Brian Kohlberger? KD said it was planted. I don't know if that's true or not, but ain't that what would make sense? That knife sheath should have been, and wasn't it a leather knife sheath? Wasn't it a leather knife sheath? Wouldn't that leather knife sheath have been soaked in blood of the victims? Because you know the blood pooled in that bed under the bodies. The actual weapon was never found. A good point. The bed would have been soaked. Exactly, John. Melissa says they're shady actions. I can tell plain and simple. Yeah. The question has to be asked, how the fuck isn't there pools of blood soaking that leather knife sheath? Come on, man. Has anybody ever gotten anything wet on leather? Man. So I grew up with Ben Mogan. This whole thing is just sad as fuck. It is, JW. And what's sad, what's really sad about it, is if Kohlberger's not the guy, the killers are still out there. The killers are still out there. That is fucking sad. Now imagine would be dripping with blood. Exactly. Now imagine this. So you lose 4 innocent college kids. Wouldn't it be? What if Kohlberger's not the guy? That would be 5. A young college kid working on his PhD. That would be tragic. Says no way that was the knife used with 0 blood on it. Exactly. And it's turned into a circus act from true crimers, said Melissa. 100% agree. Exactly, JW. How could they say there's no evidence on the stairway? Because the house was clean, man. It was cleaned in the 8 hours. I don't see how there's anybody that can say that house wasn't clean. People keep saying, what about the 8 hours? What about the 8 hours? God damn it. They were cleaning shit up and getting rid of shit. Think about it. They put the timeline together based on Dylan and Bethany's phone activity with each other. Exactly, Woo. It's not that hard to really, really analyze this. You got the fight with Ethan and with the frat dude earlier. Then you got the Tyrone running around there selling dope and shit. He went to prison for his dope killing him. He went to jail. He's out now. So are the cops framing BK? No, just like I said earlier. I think what it is they rush to judgment and they're basing it all on faulty evidence. They pick their guy and they're working backwards. They're reverse engineering a case. I don't think like the cops did it and they're framing him. I just think they needed a conviction quick and they jumped the gun. And they arrested the first person that had even circumstantial evidence against him, which is all that shit is. They did not find any blood trace in Brian Kohlberg's car, not in his apartment, not in his parents' house, not anywhere. There's absolutely no blood, no evidence anywhere else that ties him to that. And no evidence of his car being cleaned. It's not that hard to understand, Manning. They needed to get an arrest done so they could make people think that Moscow was safe. So the school, which funds 55%, which is 55% of Moscow's economy, so they would keep the business, the money rolling. I don't think they framed him. I think they just quickly made an arrest with no real evidence. And so they're trying to put the pieces together and make it line up. Exactly. With the way the crime scene leaked, it would have been soaked in blood. Remember the blood, or what they call blood, oozing out of fucking Xana's room? And no connections. And that's court documented that there's no connections between Kohlberger and the victims. Not on Instagram, not on anything. That's court documents that say that under the penalty of perjury. They were looking real dumb on a national stage, says Dingleberry. Yeah, it had been 5 weeks. They had nobody. And so, Order said, did not Stalin say, show me the man and I will show you the crime? Or something close to that? No, what he said was, damn it. Somebody knows the quote. It wasn't that. It was close to that. It was basically something like, it's not who makes the law. It's not the law that matters. It's who enforces, who, you know what I mean? I can't remember the Stalin quote, but Brian was their only option at that point. I agreed, Lucas. What's up, Denny? JB, this is off the wall, but could they got his touch DNA off car door and planted it on the sheath? There's no photo. Now, here's why I think the possibility is it could be planted. Because the sheath should be soaked in blood. So to me, that sheath was put there afterwards. Here's the thing. Remember the first walkthrough? They did not find the knife sheath until 4 p.m. The first walkthrough, first responders walkthrough, they did not find the sheath. At 4 p.m., when that other cop, he found the knife sheath. Why wouldn't they find the knife, later on by the people, why wouldn't they find the knife sheath immediately? Do you see what I'm saying? And then also keep in mind that when they ran the sheath for DNA, exactly, Manning, not the votes that count, but who counts the votes, exactly. When the cops said there was no force of entry, exactly. Let me also say this. The DNA, the knife sheath was checked several times in Idaho. Absolutely no DNA found on the knife sheath. It goes off to a special Texas lab. That's kind of a new science, and all of a sudden, Brian Kohlberger's DNA pops up. Make that make sense. It's all goofy. It's all goofy. He said because the CSIs have to be there and get their evidence before they can move. That makes sense. They can't move the bodies. But weren't there original cops there, though? I mean, I guess it could have been 4 hours later. Was they talking about the house or the bedrooms? Ooh. Once they have their collection of evidence, they move the bodies. That makes sense. Did you see that hockey? Sweet, yeah, that was crazy. There's no doubt that hockey dude tried to kill that man. Or did kill that man. I don't know if he's being framed or not, but what I do know is there's something goofy. Isn't the coroner married to a Moscow cop too? I don't remember. I don't want to say yes without that kind of, you know. I don't want to go on record and say that and then it'd be wrong. I don't think so. I don't remember. Yeah, he's dead. The clerk of court says, there you go. So anyway, in closing with the Kohlberger case, I just think there's so much fuckery. I think there's so much goofiness. And then also over there in the Richard Allen case, come to find out, the judge enticed Richard Allen's lawyers to quit. Basically, made him quit. I disagree. The video of people running by the cops is not suspect at all. Not suspect at all. You would be out of your fucking mind to either run by the cops and commit a murder or run by the cops after committing a murder. You would be absolutely retarded. There's not... that you would be absolutely retarded to do that. As retarded as most of the true crime community. You know what I'm saying? You'd have to be that dumb. No, I do not believe under any circumstances. Put it with 3 unidentified male DNA profiles. Yeah, but what you're doing is now you're accusing every DNA in the house of being the murderer. There's going to be other dudes' DNAs in the house. I want to know whose DNAs were in the murder spots. Cops with plain clothes? Yeah. No, I don't think Delphi is a child sex ring at all. At all. Richard Allen confessed. I think Richard Allen, for whatever reason, was walking down that bridge that day. And I don't know what was going wrong in his life. I think he snapped and killed those girls. That's what I think. It wasn't the boogeyman, white supremacist. It wasn't the cults. It wasn't the sex traffickers. It wasn't the cartel. It wasn't the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was Richard Allen, who confessed to it to his wife and mother. It was Richard Allen that said, guys down the hill. And then he brutally murdered them girls. That is the truth. That is the truth. And I'm sorry, but you're not going to make me believe that some dude working at Walgreens, or CVS, excuse me, was part of something bigger. Richard Allen was a big-time cult member at Walgreens. No, stop it. Stop it. I'm just being honest. And by the way, just for the record, I'm not surprised there's 3 dudes' DNA inside of some fucking college chick's bedroom. These women are whores these days. I have no idea how much dick these women were sucking. None at all. Exactly. Gina says, coroner who ruled 4 University of Idaho students were stabbed to death is also a defense attorney for a killer arrested a mile away. Yeah, I'm not a big believer in that guy is. I did a video on him. I know what you're talking about. What's his name with like 3 names? Not just 3 unidentified. Yeah. Guys, I'm sorry. And I agree, that should be reason to be concerned. But I don't know if that means 3 different people did it. Because that would mean 4 if you count Kohlberger. I'm just going to be honest, though. I'm not surprised at all that 3 different dudes' DNA was found with these broads. Just saying. Meaning they probably got the DNA of... Yeah, but you're... James Curtis Leonard. Yeah, that was his name. But look, you're... You're assuming... What's up, Cash McCoy? You're assuming that them girls only fucked people in their inner circle. Every chick I know is banging some stranger random motherfucker on a one-nighter. They're whores. Women today are not women of yesterday. I'm just being honest. Women don't hold any prestige to their pussy. Louis says, dude, JB, do you think there's a reason or plan in the works when they did 2 traffic stops on BK? 100%. I think the feds set up those pullovers. 100%. It was within 10 miles of each other. It was within 10 miles. By the way, didn't they take Brian Kohlberger's ID that he had touched? Yeah, the Ethan thing we've been talking about for sure. Did they take Brian Kohlberger's ID back to their car? Or did they just look at it at the window and hand it back? I don't remember. But I'm just curious. If they took Brian Kohlberger's ID back to that car, why so close together? Exactly. And they said that he was following too close to the car. Guys, I've never seen anybody get pulled over for that. He says that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. 100%, Louis. All of it's weird. All of it's goofy. And in the end, I don't know what happened. Do you think there is any truth to the escort or OnlyFans rumors? It's possible. I want to know what Dylan was doing all that time while everybody else was out partying. What was Dylan doing that night? Right? What was Dylan doing? Exactly, Gordon. I will just say this. I think it's just speculation. But would I be surprised? But I also want to say this, man. People keep bringing up Kaylee's Range Rover. Not everybody's broke, man. Kaylee's a hot chick. If any chick was going to have a Range Rover, I'm just being honest with you. I live in Indianapolis. I see anyone pulled over. Exactly. Living in Indianapolis, I rarely see, okay. Yeah, I lived in Indianapolis for a while too, John. I'm just going to be honest with you guys, man. I don't... No, Dylan was not at a party with Bethany. Oh, you said boyfriend? I don't remember that because I know for a fact, well, I know that Bethany was at the party with Ethan and Xana. I know that they say Bethany was there. I don't know. You say Dylan was somewhere else at another party? I need to know. I need to see evidence of that shit. I honestly don't know. But anyway, so I'm not gonna speak on that too much now because I don't know it. But I mean, it's believable. It's possible. Yes, he was wearing a black ski mask. Oh shit. That's insane. They didn't ask for his ID in those 2 stops. That's not true, because I remember him handing over his ID. That's not true at all. Yeah, I mean, it's very possible, Criminal Care, man. But no, I remember specifically Brian Kohlberger handing over his ID. I just don't remember if they took it back to the car or not. Make sense? So I guess only time will tell. It's all crazy, right? It's all crazy. But no, when it comes, let me. I do want to make one last statement. And it's in regards to Kaylee's, like I said, her vehicle. Why are people so shocked that Kaylee was driving what's up, Rickster? A Range Rover. Is that what she was driving, a Range Rover? But it was like an older one? Is that what she was driving? Why are people surprised to hear that? College students don't have bills. Not really. It is shady that the kids at the school are not. What's up, Fauci? What part did Emma Watson and the black guy play, do you think? I believe it's possible if they were murdered over drugs, it was them. I don't make definitive statements because I don't know. Grandparents' gift, exactly, John. Why wouldn't you believe that? Why wouldn't people believe that Kaylee, who let's be honest, she had conservative, hardworking parents. Can we all agree with that? Why do people believe that Kaylee couldn't have her grandparents or her parents? Or let's just be honest, Kaylee was attractive as fucking Jack Decor wasn't. Why, like, are people shocked that maybe she had someone like a Jack Decor, which it wasn't him, maybe paying the bill? I paid a goddamn bill to fuck Kylie, whatever the fuck. I mean, why not? I'm being dead. If you go back to my first video, I told you then that due to the attractiveness of Kaylee and the other one, that it is possible they were targeted. But either way, I want to just say, it's to me, when I hear people say, how could people have a Range Rover? Man, that's that's crazy. There's young people with Range Rovers and Lexuses and shit all the time. They don't have a lot of bills. They don't have any kids. Yeah, exactly. No, I remember that traffic stop with the female cop. What's up, Lisa? But anyway, just in closing, all I'm going to say is that I think people, especially in the true crime community, focus on the wrong shit. How did this girl have the vehicle that she had? Well, she's hot. Didn't have a lot of bills. That's all I'm saying. And she had a future ahead of her. It is a broke mind frame. And you get people to do that. Like, how does that person have that? That person must be selling drugs, or must be on OnlyFans, or must be a whore. I'm not saying she was or wasn't. I'm just saying, he said, the HOA takes all my money, asshole. I hear you there, Gordon. But do you see my point, though? Does that make sense to you guys? Does that make sense? Like, it is a broke mindset to be like, oh, how can somebody have a nicer car than me? I know broke Tyrones with Range Rovers and Lexuses and shit and Escalades. That's all I'm saying. But to live in a fucking Section 8 apartment, don't have anything else. That's just all they got. Usually in some other broad's name. That's all I'm saying. The reason, KD or Gordon, the reason that me and you don't have Range Rovers is because we have bills. Some of you have kids. And we're not rich. But for a college kid, I mean, you don't see a lot of college kids driving luxury SUVs, but doesn't mean it doesn't happen. No, I don't know. I think college kids have better, because you got to also remember they have better credit than us. Woo-woo. And I know I'm speaking for myself, but college kids, all they've got is a couple credit cards in their youth. They might have 800 credit. When you got college kids walking around with 800 credit scores because they haven't had chances to fuck their credit up yet. Well, of course, Kaylee's family was well off. You can tell Steve Gonsalves and his wife is a hardworking, upper middle class family. I've seen their house. Remember, they did the interview inside the Gonsalves house. I know that if I'm a well-off father and I got a daughter like Kaylee, beautiful, making great grades. Rick, that was you, Rick? Rick, thank you very much. Rick sent 5 in. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Double D, that's you? Let me also give a shout out. You can buy a car you don't afford, and I will come take it when you don't pay the bill. Exactly. All I'm saying is, if I was a father and my daughter was the beautiful and talented and smart college student, Kaylee Gonsalves, who already had a job lined up in Texas, and I wanted to get her a graduation present, why wouldn't I buy her a Range Rover? Now imagine if you're a father that's got a little bit of money. Imagine if you're successful. If Amy was in here, I'd ask her, hey, if you had a beautiful child that was graduating college and already had her job lined up, would you buy her a Range Rover? Or at least pay the down payment so she could, I'm pretty sure Amy, and if Upgrade was in here, they'd be like, hell yeah. Maybe not. I'm just saying though, by all we know, Kaylee was a very good student, never in trouble, had a job lined up, and was about to be a college graduate. It was her senior year. She was about to graduate, I believe, right? Should a Range Rover for a grad? Yeah, but if people got money, to them that ain't really shit. And it was a used Range Rover though. Do you see? I think it was like a 2017 Range Rover. Let me look that up. Let me look up the value. 2017 Range Rover. Let's see. But I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I'm just going to look at some random numbers. 30 grand? 30 grand? Come on, man. 30 grand? Look, man. These ain't that bad. 23 grand, 30 grand, 54 grand maybe, 33 grand. Yeah, I could see parents that are well off spending that as a graduation gift to their college graduating kid. Well, she did have a gun and lessons. That's all I'm saying. A car is a typical gift. That makes sense. To us though, it just sounds crazy though. Anyway, let me give a shout out to a couple people. And that was you, Rickster, the double D. Thank you so much, brother. He sent 5 in. Let me give a shout out to my boy Louie, who sent 2075. He said, "Here's some math for you. Cheers." Thank you, brother. And the beautiful Amy, actually, she sent 100. She's in 100. Said, "Looking good, handsome girl." Tear your ass up. She said, "My daughter graduated with her master's in business, and I bought her a 2021 Infiniti." See what I'm saying? Exactly. There you go. Her daddy got a new one and gave her his old one. That makes sense. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Louie. Thank you, Double D. 125.75. Shit. 225.75. Bam! I did that math like a motherfucker, didn't I? I did that math like a motherfucker. 225.75. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Those Infiniti SUVs are nice. See what I'm saying? People, and there's no reason to hate on them. Because if you had the money, you would do the shit too. I would do the shit. I'm just being honest. A car is a very common graduation gift, says Gina. Exactly. Haha, Louis, you thought your math was going to fuck me up, huh? You didn't realize by looking at the thing that my shit was already even, so your little odd number, I was going to be able to slide in there and mix it in and be just fine. He said, my dad bought me a used Pontiac. Yeah, a lot of people got used cars. Just her family may have just been doing better. So they got her a fucking, you know. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't mean Kaylee was selling her ass or selling drugs. That's all I'm saying. She just didn't have bills like that, and she's probably able to afford the payments. That's all I'm saying. Dingleberry the repo man, yes. So that's just my position. So anyway, I can't believe we went on about the Idaho 4 for an hour on this live stream. Them motherfuckers, when I clip it and put it over there on them, they're for them to get 2 videos today, they're gonna fucking lose their mind. They're gonna lose their fucking mind over there. I think the other one was an hour too. We've been putting in some work today. That's fine though, because there wasn't a lot of news today. We covered most of it earlier. So if you can't afford college for 3 kids, if you can afford college for 3 kids, you're doing well. Exactly, Amy. That makes sense. That 100%. I can't afford a college for 1 motherfucker. You better not come to me with an after-school activity being like, hey, I need $185 so I could play the flute. Bitch, you go play a different kind of flute to get the fuck out. You're old enough, lady. You get on out and go play another flute and get you some money and move out. You know, pay for you to play the flute. Her dad is into crypto, yeah. So I mean, he's an investor. You know, he's doing his thing. You know, never know. But what I just have noticed that in the true crime community, everybody points out everything. Like, oh, how did she get that? What you mean when you say that is, how come I'm so broke and I can't have what Kaylee Gonzalez can have? Well, maybe you should be as successful as Kaylee Gonzalez then.